Hello guys, welcome to my video. In this video I will explain how to optimize your settings for Final Fantasy. I will go over the HUD settings, the UI settings, how to set up your hotbar and your keybinds, and some other settings. Please note that this is more of a guideline rather than a hard set tutorial. So you can play around with the settings and find what you like. We'll start with the HUD and the UI. So open up your HUD layout, and here you have everything on your screen that you can drag and drop. So we'll go to this one, and this is the default settings. Oh yeah, these are the default settings. So they're not bad, but you should change them, and I will show you how to do that. So first, I'd say you want to reduce eye darting as much as you can. So you want most of the things that you are using in combat and like just in general close to each other. So enable the third hotbar because you're going to need that once you get more abilities, and put them all together more towards the bottom. Move your party list closer. Move your buffs and your debuffs closer. Move your gauge. You'll unlock this later if you haven't already. And move this closer. Move the target info over closer. And with the target info, usually it's just one big bar. So as you can see, it shows all. This is my target, what I'm attacking. But what I recommend doing is clicking it and then click display target info separately. So now you can drag the health of your target, the debuffs and buffs, and the casting that they're using. So what I recommend doing is moving the health and their buffs and debuffs around right here, and then their casting, move it dead center and make it max size. That way you can see what abilities that they're using, so you can dodge appropriately. You want to reduce screen cluttering. So other UI elements, you can make them smaller and put them more towards the side. So all of these things you can kind of just drag over here. Alliance list, your duty list, you can drag right here. Map, server info, all this. The status info other, also keep that small up here. Focus target bar, move that. So and entity list, just kind of move it around, make sure everything works. Also, make the party list smaller because it is too large and doesn't need to be that big. So this is mine, and I'm a raider, so I do a lot of fighting the hard bosses. So I have my main combat things in this section of my screen, so I don't have to dart my eyes around so much. If you press Control and then the arrows on keyboard, you can adjust the camera height. So I have my character right above my hotbars, and so you see my hotbars right here, my party's right here, my entity, so the people I'm attacking are right here, the cast bar is right here, you can't see it, my cast bar is right here, my chat's right here, everything else is kind of to the side, my buffs are right here because I need to be able to see those. Debuffs are right next to it. Now for the UI, you're going to open up your character configuration menu, and you're going to go down to UI settings, and most of this is also can be accessed in the HUD layout, but you can kind of play around with these as most of this is preference. So just look around and see how it is. Now I'm going to show you how to set up your hotbars. So the default hotbar is they're usually spread out. You saw it before, but they're spread out. So like I said before, squish them together, make them closer. When you're setting up your hotbars, you want 3 main hotbars, which are going to have your combat abilities on there, and these are going to be your main ones because you're always using these when you're fighting. You can add a 4th one, which may actually be nice. I used to have a 4th one, but I made them 3. Some other uses for hotbars would be like this right here. In the right of my screen, I have this system which has these macros that when I click it will open up another hotbar to have other buttons that I need to use. So you can set that up. If you want, you can also just have a hotbar, like you can get the 4th hotbar if you're not using it, and then you can drag like abilities that you use out of combat, like teleport, return, repair, stuff like that. You can put it right here. For controller players, you're gonna have the cross hotbar, which is pretty similar. It's just with a controller. I don't have my controller connected right now, but usually you'd press the trigger buttons and the X, square, triangle, circle buttons to use these. And then if you want, which I recommend doing, is go to hotbar settings and character configuration, cross, and then click, where is it? Always display WXHB, return to XHB after WXHB, custom, enable expanded controls, enable all this, because these will give you this extra thing right here, and it's really handy for when you have a lot of buttons and you need to press them. Now you're going to want to set up your keybinds, and the default keybinds for your hotbar are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, the minus key, and the equal key, and these go all through here. And those aren't good because when you're fighting, you're not going to be able to reach 0 with one hand while you're pressing W. And if you could, it'd probably be very awkward unless you use the second hand. So what I recommend doing is get an MMO mouse, which would make it a lot easier because then you have a bunch of extra buttons on that mouse. Set it up like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Q, E, R, F, T, C, and V. All those buttons are in easy access, really close to WASD. When you're setting up your keybinds, keep all of them the same. So keep your first row, you have how I explained earlier, one Q, whatever, and then the second one make it shift 1, shift 2, shift 3, and then the third one I have it on control. And if you have a fourth one, you can make it alt, so alt 1, alt 2, or the function keys, so like F1 and F2. You can set that up however you want. When you're setting up how your buttons are placed, the biggest thing I would say is synergy. So you want, for one job, if you have it set up one way, for the other job of that kind, it should be set the same. So my tanks hotbars are all very similar. Like my AoEs are control 1 and control 2. My mitigations are control E, control Q. And if I swap to my other tanks, you can see that they're all the same. My short mitigation is on T. So for all your jobs, just make sure that they're synergized and that they're and the buttons are easy to press. Now, that's for combat, but with your keybinds, you can also set up shortcuts. So if we open up here, you have the movement, you have the system shortcuts right here, and there are a lot of menus that you want to open up, but you don't want to have to move. Always click character and then like actions and traits, or like it's not convenient, so you set up these, and the default shortcuts are actually pretty good, but play around with it. For me, like I open up my character menu with control alt C, so that opens up that, but just set it up how you would like. Now we're going to go to the character and the system configuration menu. Go down to the bottom right, open up your system, or if you're on controller, the options button. And most of these settings are very preference, but there are some that I would recommend changing. This button will change it from mouse to gamepad. In control settings, movement, default on keyboard is standard, which means when you press W it moves you forward, S it backpedals, Q strafes left, D or E strafes right, A and D turn. I recommend changing to legacy, which is the default for controller, and this allows you to move more freely. W is forward, A is turn left and strafe, so it just turns you. D moves you backwards rather than backpedaling. And the reason I say this is because in fights, when you're in a fight and you do an attack and you want to move backwards, if you press S, you're going to backpedal, and you backpedal slowly, so you might get attacked. But when you press S, it'll move you at the same speed. Many people I know stick to standard because that's how other MMOs are, from what I've heard. But I definitely recommend changing to legacy if you have it. But if you don't want to and you're going to stay on standard, go to keybinds and then change A and D, which is on move left and move right, to straight. So that way you'll move like this instead of like turning, you know. Most of this is preference. So play around with these, see what you like. You can kind of leave most of it alone. UI, we went over that. Display name settings here is the name above your character and other people, so you can change that. Hotbar, we went over that. This is the chat window. And then for the system configuration, all of this is preference. The graphic settings depends on how your computer or your console is. My computer's medium build, so mine, you know, I have kind of medium graphics. But, you know, play around with it, see what you like. Now, there's one more system, and it's called macros. And macros, you know what they are. They are short, they're commands that when you press a button, something will automatically happen. So, you can set these up a bunch of different ways. You can either have crafting ones, so when you use this one, when I'm crafting, it'll automatically use these abilities. So I don't have to learn how to craft, I just use other crafting tools. You can have these ones which do kind of background commands, so when I do this, it's going to organize my armory chest in a certain way. When I use this, it changes me strewn, good monk. This opens up this menu, and that's how I got this collapsible hotbar system. You can have chat macros, so I have this one right here, and when I use it, it's going to type a bunch of stuff, so I don't have to type it myself. Glowy weapon, this is one I found. It just makes your weapon glow. But yeah, there are a bunch of different ways you can kind of set these up, which I definitely recommend at least checking it out. Well, that was my video on how you can optimize your settings for Final Fantasy. I hope you enjoyed it, but please remember this was a guideline and not a tutorial. So you can follow it however you want. You can change the settings how you want and play around with them to find how you like it. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.